Long ago, a specific model for schools was created. It was called the Prussian school model. Its purpose was not to create free thinkers or entrepreneurs. Its primary goal was to produce efficient, obedient workers for the burgeoning industrial age. The system was designed to train people to follow instructions, respect authority, perform repetitive tasks without question. The entire structure of the school day, ringing bells, neat rows of desks, mirrored the discipline of the factory floor. It fueled industrial revolutions and built modern economies by creating a predictable and skilled labor force. The echoes of this model still resonate today. We still see students moving at the sound of a bell, sitting in rows, preparing to become good employees, not owners. Most of us are taught a very simple equation for money from a young age. Go to school, get good grades, find a secure job with a good salary. A salary is a fixed payment you receive from an employer. It is payment in exchange for your time and labor. Predictable, stable, provides the financial foundation for most households. The entire educational and social structure is built around this concept. We are encouraged to climb the corporate ladder, aim for promotions that bring a higher salary. This path feels safe and responsible. However, the wealthiest people in the world view this very differently. A salary has a fundamental limitation. It is tied to your time. There are only so many hours in a day you can work. To make more money, you must work more hours, or convince someone to pay you more per hour. This creates a natural ceiling on earning potential. The 1% playbook is not about a higher salary, it's about acquiring equity. What exactly is equity? In simple terms, ownership. Owning a piece of something that has value. Owning something that can generate income. Share of stock in a public company, percentage of a private business, rental property. Living on a salary is the reality for the vast majority of the population. It pays the bills. It puts food on the table. It allows for a comfortable life. Yet it creates a subtle trap that is difficult to escape. The trap is that your income is forever linked to your ability to work. If you stop working, the income stream stops. Illness, job loss, retirement. This creates a constant underlying pressure to keep working, to keep performing, to remain a valuable employee. It makes you dependent on the employer who signs the paycheck. This dependency is the core of the salary trap. You are essentially renting out your time to someone else. The better you are, the more you can charge, but you are still just a renter. You are not building anything that you own. The company keeps the systems, the products, and the brand your labor helped build. Furthermore, salary income is often the most heavily taxed. You earn, they tax, before you even see the money. The alternative to the salary trap is the ownership game. This is the world where the 1% operate. Instead of trading time for money, they use time and money to acquire assets that produce more money. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A rental property generates monthly rent. A dividend stock pays you a portion of profits. A successful business generates cash flow. The goal is to accumulate as many income-producing assets as possible. The power of equity comes from two main sources: cash flow and appreciation. Cash flow is regular income. Appreciation is the increase in value over time. Buy for $300,000, worth $500,000 10 years later. A $200,000 gain you did not work for. Cash flow plus appreciation creates the snowball effect. Your money makes more money. This is why people become millionaires from stock options or from building a real estate portfolio. This game is not reserved for the ultra-rich. You can start with a single low-cost index fund share or a duplex where you live in one unit and rent the other. Taxes are a universal certainty, but not everyone experiences them the same way. The tax code is a complex set of rules, and how they apply depends on how you make your money. For salaried employees, taxes are withheld each paycheck. The more you earn, the higher your rate. It feels like a penalty on earning more. For asset owners, however, the tax code reads like a different book. It is not a book of penalties, but a book of incentives to start businesses, hire people, provide housing. Business owners, real estate investors, long-term stock investors play by different tax rules than W-2 employees. Think of it this way. An employee earns $1, gets taxed, then tries to live and invest with what is left. A business earns $1, spends on legitimate expenses, equipment, salaries, marketing, and is taxed on the profit left over. This earn, spend, then tax model is a massive advantage. This is legal tax avoidance, not evasion, aligning with incentives, with accountants and lawyers guiding the way. Schools teach us algebra, but fail to teach this far more practical literacy, the rules that decide how much you keep. Employee: how much will I be paid for this job? Owner: what asset can I build or buy that will pay me forever? Let's look at a simple example of how tax rules favor owners. 2 paths for a $100,000 gain. Salary, high taxes, asset sale, low taxes plus reinvest. Imagine an employee, Sarah, earns $100,000 a year. After federal income taxes, state income taxes, Social Security, and Medicare, she might take home around $70,000. Now consider David, an investor. He sells stocks held more than a year, realizing a $100,000 long-term capital gain. In the US, long-term capital gains are taxed at much lower rates, 15%, even 0% depending on income. This rule alone creates a huge difference over time. Real estate adds depreciation, a non-cash expense that can reduce taxable income to 0% while you keep the rent. The wealthy are just playing by rules schools never taught us. The word debt carries a heavy, negative weight for most people. We are taught that debt is dangerous. Horror stories of credit cards and payday loans abound. Schools present debt as something to avoid at all costs. Using high-interest debt to buy things that lose value is a surefire way to destroy wealth. Bad debt. A car loan plummets in value as you pay principal and interest. Consumer credit card debt is worse. Interest is astronomically high. Many become proudly debt-free, yet miss a powerful wealth-building tool. The wealthy are allergic to bad debt, but not afraid of the other kind. They see debt as a tool, a lever. Good debt purchases assets that appreciate or generate income. Leverage. With $20,000, 10% in stock yields $2,000, or use it as a down payment on a $100,000 rental. Control the asset with $20,000. A 10% rise is $10,000, a 50% return on cash before rent. Leverage magnifies gains and losses, so use it wisely. The industrial age school system gave us a map for a world that no longer fully exists. It taught us to trade time for a steady paycheck and avoid financial complexity. The top 1% use a different map: ownership, tax efficiency, and strategic debt. First, unlearn the employee mindset. See through the eyes of an owner. You need not quit. Your job funds your first assets. Deploy every saved dollar as a soldier in your army of assets. Buy a low-cost index fund share or save for a small duplex. Become your own teacher. Read, listen, learn. Start small. That first share changes your identity from consumer to owner. It is time to write the missing chapter yourself. Start today.